A terrorist is submerged in a unique fluid in the 27th century and awakens 250 years later in a different body. He has to finish a mission he began 2 centuries ago and look into an attempt on the life of the billionaire who saved him. A vicious mercenary named Teshi Kovacs joins a revolt against the Protectorate, the World Authority. Teshi is the only warrior left standing after the envoys are routed. Authorities pursue Teshi, who is ultimately moved to a different body. He is told that he spent 2.5 millennia in cryostasis at Alcatra prison on Earth and is plagued by flashbacks of his final moments in the previous body. He is informed that Lawrence Bankov, who has rented him and effectively owns him, has requested that his stack be put into a body that possesses combat muscle memory and military neurochemistry. Teshi meets Lieutenant Kristen Ortega, who informs him that the state is permitted to transfer a person's consciousness into any body that is accessible in accordance with the restitution law for victims. They see a demonstration against the elimination of the resurrection ritual and fair trials for offenders. In a flying limousine, they travel to Bankov's house, where Teshi explores the futuristic setting and discovers the Maths, a group of the world's wealthiest individuals whose consciousness is supported by a secluded gadget. After being taken to Lawrence Bankov's mansion, Teshi, a former envoy, discovers the Envoy Rebellion and the extraordinary power of the envoys. Teshi is given a Qualchrist notepad by Bankov, which he is unable to purchase. Teshi receives a $50 million salary and a presidential pardon, but he also has to figure out who killed Bankov and destroyed his stack. Bankov indicates that Miriam discovered him headless after an energy weapon discharge, pointing to a blood spot on the wall. Additionally, Bankov discloses that he is happy to spend eternity in cryostasis and that his digital awareness has a remote backup. In an attempt to discover Teshi's true identity and the reason for Banker's decision to bring him back, Kristen enters the city and uses illegal drugs. Kristen, who had worked on Bank's case before, consents to speak with Teshi about his relationship with Bank. Although every investigation found that Bankov committed suicide, she acknowledges that he almost destroyed her career. Kristen also reveals that she was tasked with looking into the death of a young Nyack Catholic girl at about the same time as Bank's case. Teshi believes someone was involved in Banker's odd death, but Kristen finds it unusual that both tragedies happened at the same time. He says goodbye to Kristen. A young man named Teshi is lodging at the Raven, a motel managed by an AI that is based on Edgar Allan Poe. Teshi chooses the most costly room with the finest entertainment in spite of warnings about the risks posed by AI hosts. When he arrives, armed thugs surround him, but the AI provides assistance. Teshi is killed while attempting to question the gang leader. When police show up, they find that the gang leader's body is registered to Dmitry Kadmin, a Russian hitman who illegally duplicates his stack and uploads them into fake bodies. In order to question him, Kristen plans to load the stack from this version, but it is broken. Quist maintains that the Banker case is more significant than it first appears, even as Teshi considers taking his own life. Teshi goes to Bankov, a business that produces extra bodies for high-end customers, and demands all of Bankov's business and personal connections. Teshi requests the records of Bankov's most recent download in order to learn who tried to breach his backup following the assassination attempt. It seems that Bankov and his spouse, Miriam, would like to supervise the inquiry directly. A former SEC agent named Teshi is sent to uncover the truth regarding an attack that occurred at a hotel the night before. He meets Mary Lou's mother, Mrs. Hen-Chi, who has converted to Nyack Catholicism and is hence incapable of being revived. Teshi employs artificial intelligence, AI, to classify the thousands of films that contain threats against Bankov by threat kind. He meets former soldier Vernon Elliott, who discloses that his wife, Ava, was a hacker and is presently incarcerated for 30 years. After finding a chamber with an odd gadget, Teshi enters a virtual reality and encounters Lizzie, who was murdered outside the brothel. Vernon thinks Lizzie died because of Bankov, who used to frequent the brothel and vowed to take care of her. After defeating Vernon, Teshi embarks on a trip to celebrate the Protector's triumph against the terrorist envoys. Alatna, Kristen's mother, is against the notion of Kristen being resurrected in a different body when she returns home. After learning more about Teshi's location, Kristen brings him to the station. Miriam Bankov is waiting for Teshi when he gets back to his room at the Raven. Kristen travels to the morgue and gets Mary Lou's loose stack when Teshi can't stop her body from releasing a unique pheromone.